if you're going to offer somebody something, if you're going to be a service provider, if you're really going to help people, you need to be a leader. And in order to lead, you need to first lead yourself. Hello, everyone. My name is Ona, and this is Wealthy Weirdos, the podcast where we talk about how the weirdos, the outcasts, those who think differently and move differently through the world come into their wealthiest timeline doing what they love. So, this week, I know I want to talk about leadership. Leadership is so important in business, and it starts by leading yourself. And what I've come to realize is that to lead yourself means that you know fully and completely what you're here to do. You have a why that is bigger to you than comfort, something that matters to you beyond your own comfort. All right. You're living with intent, you're living with purpose, you have a why, and you know how you want to be supported in that, like what you want your life to look like so that you can do this why. So when I say more important than comfort, I don't mean that you're not comfortable, but you are willing to be very uncomfortable. You're willing to do super scary things in order to achieve this why. And at the same exact time, you respect yourself as the vessel to carry forward this mission. And you know with every fiber of your being how you would like your life to function so that you can carry out this mission. So, the first aspect of leadership is knowing what's my purpose, intention, like how am I serving the world? What am I here to do? Like, what's my larger why that actually matters to me? The second part is what do I desire? Like, what feels good to this system, to me as a being, so that I can be that vessel, so that I can be nourished in that process. And then the third thing being carrying it out, taking full responsibility for it. The responsibility piece is huge. So I'm going to give some examples. I have a friend who right now she works as a stripper, which is great. I'm all for that. I used to be a cam girl. I have plenty of stories from the camming days. Um, and she enjoys it because she gets to be more connected to her body. She loves the music. Like she loves just kind of connecting with her sensuality and the dancing and everything like that. It's really awakened something in her because truly her essence, like she just has this very magnetic, effortlessly cool essence, right? And in an ideal world, she would just be getting paid to be in that essence. She provides a lot of value literally through the way she looks at you. Like she has this penetrating look and she has this ability to really like be with a person and see them in this like really beautiful, compassionate way. And she's so good at just like opening up this space and looking directly at you and allowing you to come forward. And she can reflect to you all of your magic, which is actually a very, very highly valuable skill. On top of that, she's an artist. So, and a hypnotherapist, right? So the way she has presence with people, she can basically have them, she can, she can help them transform, whether that be through giving them a tattoo or through a hypnotherapy session that breaks a lifelong habit. They never have to smoke a cigarette again, right? Like there's these really high value skills that she has. But for her, it's important that she never has to rush. Like she's not here to build a business in the same way that a lot of other people are, where they have this like model that they scale and they create courses and she's making content all the time. Like it doesn't actually work for her in that same way where she's like, okay, here's my offer and like da 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 da. Like it isn't, it has never really quite clicked with her. And it's because for her, it's so important that she follow her knowing and follow her instincts and like be with a person for the length of time required. So it's normal for her to do like a 4 hour session. It's normal to get a tattoo from her and have it take like all day, even though it normally wouldn't. But that's also like part of the value. She moves in this like very slow way, but that's part of why people blossom around her, right? And so I think what's so appealing to her about the strip club is that there is this kind of like ability for her to just be what she is and be in her essence and get paid for that. That there isn't all of these like rules around it about this like offer that she's creating and how it has to look and rinse and repeat and do that for everybody. Like that simply isn't how she functions. And when I was speaking with her and I was talking about leadership, I was like, well, the first step is you getting really real about what it is that's important to you, right? Like, what is this larger thing that's important to you? And then how do you want that to work for you? How do you want that to nourish you? How do you want to get paid, right? And I think she's still leaning into that larger why, but I do think a lot of it has to do with like honestly, she really cares so much about the planet. Her art uplifts people. It like so much of her the art that she makes, 'cause she also makes sculptures and all kinds of things, and a lot of that is really like bringing a lot of environmental awareness. It's changing our relationship to ourselves, to each other, to the planet. Like there is this larger why in her that, from my observation at least, has a lot to do with seeing beauty in unexpected places. Like she has a really beautiful way of like bringing forward the beauty that's there. Like trash that gets left on the beach becomes beautiful, right? And I think that with that larger why, she then has to admit her desire and unapologetically own her desire to be in her essence and get paid for it. To like be able to do her art and take forever. Like to just, you know, get her materials and put her pieces of art together and have it take like hours upon hours upon hours and have that be funded, right? To spend an afternoon with somebody with no rush and really deeply penetratingly stare into them and change their whole freaking life and get paid accordingly for that, right? She can't just say, oh, here's a $200 hypnotherapy session when really she needs to be with somebody for hours and hours. And like it needs to be a minimum of $1,000 in order for that to make sense because that is her whole day, really. And like it is even going to affect what she's able to do the next day. It's just how she moves. So when I was speaking with her, I was like, this is really what it's about. You've got to own that you basically want to get paid to exist, which is totally fair for how she functions and how her gifts function. And then take leadership in order to make that happen. And so when we're talking about the club, the reason she likes going there and dancing rather than just getting paid to exist by people who appreciate her presence is because the strip club offers the leadership that she doesn't want to have to take on, the leadership and the responsibility that she's afraid of. Because at the club, there's rules. Oh, this is how much this is over, or like you have to pay more if you're gonna hang out with me for another couple of hours, you have to pay me more. You can't touch, right? And the club just enforces all of that for her. So she doesn't have to do the hard thing of saying, this is my boundary. Like, this is the expectation. I'm here, my presence is here. I expect to be making a few $100s right in this moment. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't have to hold that boundary and communicate that. So it's the yang, it's like the side of that what you could call masculine energy of like, this is the container, which is such a big part of taking responsibility for how you want your life to work for you. Because your mission, your bigger why, it requires like all this creativity and spaciousness and for you to be in your flow and to channel and to like let that art come through you. But in order for you to be in that flow, to be in that yin, to be in that feminine, you could call it, is really dependent on there being adequate structure and boundaries for you to do so. For you to admit to yourself, well, in order for that to work, I need to be making, you know, X amount of dollars. I need to be making $10,000 a month in order to support this lifestyle, in order to be that muse, to be that artist, to be that person that's like really able to take her time and do her work the way that she wants to do it. In order to be that, I have to be making this much money. And so it has to function like this. I have to have boundaries around that, right? And I think a lot of people will become employed somewhere that takes on some of that leadership for them, that basically becomes the leadership role because they don't want to have to take on that level of responsibility. And that's all well and good. But if you have a mission and you want to be an entrepreneur, that becomes you. You're the one who has to be the leader. You're the one who has to say, this is my vision, and I'm taking responsibility for it. So she has a lot of options because if she could really come into that energy and take full leadership and full responsibility for it, she could then say, and, you know, come in and assume that she's meeting people all the time, every day, who are willing to pay her large amounts of money, right? That like maybe she goes to the club and meets somebody who's like happy to tip her entire like rent and living expenses every single month. And in return, she does what feels right for her energy, which is maybe just these check-ins and these looks and these, moments of holding space for that person. Because they value that. With her, they value that a lot. And I know for a fact there's people who are willing to pay that. If energetically she could just see that that's okay. That this is her mission. This is part of how she's meant to hold space here. That her art projects could be funded, right? That people do want to fund this and pay for this, that this does exist. And even like there are people out there who want a tattoo that takes 4 hours that normally wouldn't, just so they can be in her presence and have that experience that she offers. There are people who want a 5 hour hypnotherapy session and to have that break a lifelong pattern for good. But this comes into sales because selling is vital for leadership. I did an episode on sales last week, so if you want to check that out, go take a look. But selling is leadership because how are they going to know what it is you're really doing unless you sell to them? It's not about convincing, it's not about doing anything skeezy. It's about genuinely, literally selling is mostly just listening to the other person. It's like asking them questions. Where are they at? So let's say somebody's coming for hypnotherapy and they don't really know. They're looking around. Maybe they should just do this $100 session because it's less money, or, so and so is a friend of a friend, so maybe they should just do a session there. But they don't really know. And then they find you and they're talking to you and you're like, "Okay, well, what's going on?" And you start talking about, "Well, I've had this habit forever and I haven't been able to break it, and this is how it keeps coming up, and da 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 da." So for her to sell a session, she's got to listen to all of that. What have you tried already? What's worked? What hasn't worked? Like, tell me about it. Okay, now tell me about where you want to be on the other side of this hypnotherapy session. What does that look like? What does that feel like, right? Okay, like painting that reality, feeling that in their system, knowing that that's possible for them, letting them feel the problem and feel where they are, and then letting them feel where they want to go and what that really means to them, and knowing, okay, yeah, this is my time, I'm ready for this. And then if you really think that what you do can help them, then you say, I have something for you. Like, I do you want to hear about it? Like, would you like to hear more about how I would approach this? Right? And then they'll say yes, usually. And then you can say, okay, this is what I've got. I do it differently. For me, these sessions are 4 or 5 hours long because I do not rush anything. There's going to be moments of resistance in your system, but we're very gently, like we are with that. And I push right at the exact right moment so you can have the breakthrough that you've been wanting to have for decades. And we do that. We do that in one day, right? So yeah, and then do you have questions, whatever, what's the investment? It's $1,000, right? They're not gonna, if they're just out there blindly looking for hypnotherapy, they might just be price comparing or choosing based off of who they know. But if they can sink in with you, or you can make content that really does this for you, but if they can really connect with you and see, oh, I've been looking for this. Like, I have been looking for someone who just takes their time, who goes really deep, who looks at me the way you do. Like, because they're going to feel her essence and the way she already has this gift for bringing forward your beauty, for bringing forward what's possible in you, right? It's a through line for her in her art and everything that she does. And so that selling is like such a service to that person because it allows them to see, oh my God, I didn't even know this was here. Thank goodness this exists. Wow. And so for this friend of mine to really take leadership, it's for her to know I require this money in order to do what I do, the way that I do it. These gifts that have been given to me, my essence, and being supported in this world, this is what that looks like. This is what that costs, right? This is how that functions. And then taking responsibility for that. Because really what's getting in the way is the discomfort of drawing a boundary, the discomfort of saying a price. It's actually not about the other person. A lot of people claim to try to be affordable for the benefit of others, and 9 times out of 10, this is complete bullshit. I'm just going to call it that. Because truly, make, you can create so much, especially in today's day and age. You can create content, you can create courses, you can create speeches, you can create books, you can, or you can just do a certain amount of free sessions per month or a certain amount of discounted sessions per month. Like, there's such a plethora of ways that you can make the medicine you offer affordable and available to people without it being like, well, then I can only charge $100 and just be burnt out all the time and just be on this cycle of like never making enough money for rent. That isn't serving anyone. It's absolutely ridiculous. You're convincing yourself that it's serving people, that it's like more affordable and it's what's normal, but really all you're doing is not taking leadership. You're not being a leader, you're not taking ownership, you're not taking responsibility for how your gifts are really meant to function and respecting yourself as the vessel to offer those gifts. You're not doing this to serve others. You're not affordable to serve other people. You're affordable because it's more comfortable to be affordable than it is to say, this is my price, and feel the discomfort of that. That's really what's actually going on, right? It's more uncomfortable. Like some part of you is more uncomfortable saying a higher price and being judged or shunned for that, more uncomfortable with that than it is with just like not having enough money. Like almost feels better to not have enough money. You know why? Because we've tied not having enough money to identity. And if you charge more and you start making money for your gifts, guess what? It's going to rattle that identity. It's going to feel like you don't belong anymore. And this is when a lot of people will say, like, well, community and friends are more important to me than money. But what they're really saying is, I'm afraid that if I make money, I won't belong anymore. And I'll tell you what, belonging will always be more important to you than money. Safety, belonging, and worthiness will always be more important to you than making money. But this is going to create a loop that you are stuck in, and it is a massive lack of leadership. Because the truth of the matter is, you do not lose safety, belonging, and worthiness by being nourished and being who you are. Because really, what this comes back to is thinking that you're not already worthy, that you don't already belong, that you're not already safe to be a soul on this earth, to be who you are on this earth. Like that's what's really happening, right? That because what you're saying is basically my gifts and who I am and my essence and my neurodivergent mind and the way that I function and what I need to be making to exist peacefully and beautifully in this world. You're basically saying that that's something that's off. That's not right. That's not good. That's not affordable. That's not okay, right? But really what your system is asking is for you to feel that discomfort and to know that you do belong, to know that you are still worthy, right? Because also offering your gifts and being a nourished and supported vessel while you offer those gifts isn't even about you. It's about other people. It's about what you can do for them. You do not serve more people by trying to fit into the mold of what you think they expect of you so that you don't ruffle too many feathers, so that you don't have to go through the discomfort of drawing a boundary. This is leadership. This is what it means to lead yourself, to say, this is what I want out of life, and this is what I'm here to give. This is how I'm here to serve. Because you are here to serve. Most definitely. You are here to serve. Your soul is happier when it's serving. Like I had a client do a short intensive with me, and as we were talking, I was like, there's something like there's kind of a disconnect here. Like something's off. And she's wanting to get to six figures and it hasn't happened. And I'm like, okay, do you not like, what about one-on-one? Like, do you like doing one-on-one work? Because like that's what I was feeling. I'm like tuning into her and I'm like, I think she wants to do more one-on-one. Like, I don't know why this isn't like she could literally just hit six figures with one-on-one alone and do all these other things she wants to do, the groups, the retreats, etc. Like all of that is still very doable, but like it wouldn't be that hard for her to just have a six-figure business literally just from like a solid one-on-one practice with not even that many clients. Like for what she does, like the work she does with people, this makes perfect sense to me. So I asked her about that, and she goes, "Well, I just don't know that people would pay for it. Like I don't know that they'd want to do 6 months with me or do a year with me or, pay for this like higher ticket, like really in-depth one-on-one mentorship." And I was like, "What? Of course they do. Of course they want to." Because so she says, "Oh, I don't think people are going to want to do 6 months or a year." But then in another conversation, she says to me, "Well, for the healing work I do," she does like a healing thing, hormonal balancing, right? She's like, for the work I do, really 3 months is like the absolute minimum for things to even start really changing." And I'm like, 3 months is the absolute minimum, and yet that is the longest package you offer. There's a complete and total disconnect between those two things. So it's like, it's so easy for her. Like, this is a really good example. It's so easy for her to start thinking, like, oh, well, I'm being affordable. I'm giving people options. I'm helping them. But she's not helping them because what she's doing is she's allowing her limiting beliefs and judgments and fears around money decide her product suite instead of the medicine. The actual medicine of what is actually required for somebody to get incredible results, for somebody's whole entire life to be changed with their cycle, with their hormones, with everything she does. She does a whole It's a whole process, right? It literally changes women's lives. And it does take a while. And the best results happen in depth over time. The only reason people aren't buying that is because she's not selling it. And the only reason she's not selling it is because she's afraid that people won't buy it. It's her own fear, it's her own discomfort, right? Not because it's actually the best way to experience her medicine. That's a lack of leadership. That's a lack of saying, here's my mission. Here's what I'm here to offer. Like, I'm changing women's lives. This is what it takes. This is what it looks like. And then taking responsibility for that, claiming that, and claiming yourself as the vessel, right? Because in order for her to do such a good job with these women, a six-figure business is what's required. For her to keep also reinvesting, to create these experiences, these retreats, to reach a wider audience, to have these like more affordable workshops or free things, for her to maybe write her book one day, like all of these things that she's here to do. It requires her to be supported and nourished. It's part of the medicine. Not only that, somebody investing in themselves for a massive transformation, it changes something in their brain. They realize, oh, this is a big deal. This is important. Like, I'm really going to show up for this. And it all comes back to leadership. It all comes back to if you're gonna offer somebody something, if you're gonna be a service provider, if you're really gonna help people, you need to be a leader. And in order to lead, you need to first lead yourself. And to lead yourself is to say, this is what I'm here to do. This is what I want. This is how this is gonna look for me. And here I am building it, ready to take full responsibility for it, ready to be uncomfortable for it, ready for people to judge me for it. Like, I'm ready for all of that. I'm taking responsibility and I'm building this now. And that's what it means to really lead yourself, is to hold that standard in yourself and take action from that place, right? Make decisions from that place, even if they're uncomfortable. You don't make a decision to alleviate your discomfort of like, well, maybe people won't buy that, and then convince yourself that that makes you a better person. No, you make decisions because this is what's going to serve people at the highest level possible. That's how you make a decision. That's how you make a decision about your price, about your product suite, about anything you offer. Now, I'm afraid what people will think, or I don't know, maybe people won't want to pay that, or blah, blah, blah. No, fuck all of that. That is not how you make decisions. You make decisions because this is your mission. And this is the best way for somebody to experience it. For this person that you're on a sales call with, that you're connecting with, this is what they need. And you lead. You don't say, oh, well, here's all these different options and all these different ways. And what do you think? What would you be most comfortable with? It's not about comfort. Lead. See their problem. Ask questions about their problem. See their future. Ask questions about how they want things to look and feel. And then lead. I think I have something for you. Would you like to hear about it? This is what it is. This is what that journey looks like. And they can opt in or not, right? So I've got loads more to say on leadership. I think it's going to be more and more of a theme that keeps coming forward, but it felt good to come on here today and tell this story. So comment, let me know, how is this landing? Are you leading yourself? What does that look like for you? Did any light bulbs go off during this? I love to hear from you all. Thank you so much for listening, and talk soon. Bye.